great connections with Cuba for many, many years. So I'm just excited to be here. Thank you, Latrice. I think this is a great idea. I know that open enrollment time can get really busy, and I just, commend the HR team for asking for these webinars. So let me jump right into it. So as I was saying, Legal Shield and ID Shield have been offered for to many of the schools for many, many years. And I've, like I said, had the pleasure of being the agent for all those years. My contact information is here. As Latrice said, I know that sometimes, some of the questions can be personal. I know we all have different things going on in our lives. And so please feel free to call, text, email me with any questions. And especially, I'm glad that some of you might be here that, probably already have the plans. And so I want to make sure my main goal is to make sure that you're using it to the fullest and understand all the great features and how easy it is to set up your account and all of that. So we're going to go into a little bit of all of that. And as Latrice said, absolutely, I'll be here as long as needed for questions. But the first thing I always get, right, because I just celebrated my 28-year anniversary with Legal Shield, and I was a happy customer. Believe it or not, I was a realtor, and one of my real estate clients told me about the plan, and I just thought it was a great idea. At the time, I had never heard of something like this, where, like it says, that Legal Shield gives us the ability to access our rights, right, to talk to an attorney without getting a bill. Unfortunately, I think we'd all agree, we're kind of priced out of the legal system when it comes to that, making that decision whether we can afford that three, four, $500 or more to just get a question answered, just to find out what our rights are. I'm an Air Force veteran, and so I think that's another reason that Legal Shield's really been in my heart is I think we all should have, access to our rights, to legal questions. I mean, I think we'd all agree legal, is weaved through every part of our everyday life from, as you see, getting wills done, living wills. Your plan even includes trust. Identity theft is such a huge issue that we all have to be so diligent about just protecting our information. And we know that, normal disputes come up, right? Maybe homeowners insurance or car insurance, maybe something when we're driving, or like I said, my son just left for college. He's 18, so there's a lot of issues there. Just to be proactive. And we know we all sign contracts or have consumer disputes. And so that is really what Legal Shield and ID Shield is designed for, is just to give us access. And these benefits, again, are through payroll. And you have our most robust plan because of ICUBA, just really our most robust plan at incredible premiums. And so I just wanted to highlight a little bit about the wills in our time together because, again, I'm not an attorney, I'm a licensed insurance agent. So I can't give you the legal advice, but I know that there's a lot of sometimes misunderstandings or just understanding why we really need to take the time, get our wills done. The plan even includes the living wills, healthcare power of attorney, financial power of attorney. And so this is us, right? What is our last will and testament? It's where we get to decide. We work hard for our assets all our lives, and we want it to be passed the way that we dictate, not our state, right? I know many of you are probably in the state of Florida. So, when we think we don't want the state of Florida deciding, and so that's one of the biggest reasons, because if we do die without a will, we're dying what's called intestate, and there is an intestate will, and it's not, I don't think, what any of us would agree with. And so, again, we all have certain situations, very unique situations. And so we don't, again, we want to be the one to decide, but it can be very expensive. That's one of the biggest reasons, right, that many of us don't get our wills done. Well, let's just face it, right? Of course, it's not the most fun to think about our passing, but again, we absolutely want to take control of that and not have someone else do that. And it also leaves a nightmare for our families when we don't have it in place for them. And so, those of us with children, we think, hey, my kids are going to get everything. I'm okay. I don't need a will. Definitely, that's not the case, right? There's such unique situations. Or sometimes we just think it's okay because really, if any of you have minor children, the most important part of the will, in my opinion, is to really have that guardianship decided. Because think about how many family members are on each side between, the parents and the mother and father, right? Have all their extended family. And so we might say it verbally to someone who we want to take our children, but really the state is going to decide at the end of the day if we don't have that guardianship in place. So that's something that's huge. It's really gives us peace of mind as a parent. And then we don't think we have a lot. I mean, I think these days we know you have incredible benefits with ICUBA and investments and all of those things. And I always say, even if we only had a couple $1,000s in the bank, wouldn't we rather decide where that goes than the state of Florida? And we don't even have to think about the expense and taking too long, because with a Legal Shield membership, that is completely taken off the table, because it's all there, included at no additional charge. And so here's the main highlights of the plan. One thing I want to let you know is that it does cover that $17 per month is a one fee. So that's whether you're one person or your entire family, husband and spouse, no dependents. That's just how Legal Shield has always been designed. One price for the legal. And you can see incredibly affordable. The biggest questions we get is just how can you do it, right? And it's the economy of scale, just like how it works with health plans, is that we have the top of the top law firms. Our plans are not only protecting us in Florida, but they protect us nationwide. We have a nationwide network of law firms, but specifically in the state of Florida, I mean, the average experience within the law firms is 22 years. So these are not, attorneys right out of law school. We really demand a lot from them. Both of our major law firms in the state of Florida, they kind of separate the state. They have satellite offices. Both of them have been contracted with us for over 30 years. Their attorneys are just the best of the best. And so because of how many memberships we have, that's why we can all pay a lot, but the attorneys get paid very well. And because of how much we pay them, we're able to really strictly monitor them. So we get just the best customer service, the best treatments. And you can see it starts with unlimited consultation on an unlimited number of matters. So literally, if we have a tax question, if we have a credit question, if we have something with our mortgage company, again, before my son left for college, I knew that I definitely needed his healthcare power of attorney done, because isn't it crazy that we think about, I still see him as a child, right? But in the eyes of the law, he's 18 years old. And so if God forbid something would happen, I couldn't make those health decisions for him without that healthcare surrogate. And so just getting that done. But I just put a call into the law firm. I asked for a consultation just to make sure that I was covering all my bases with him, leaving for school. Those kind of consultations where normally an attorney would be charging us two, three, $400 in a consultation or more. Unlimited. It is absolutely included. And then it goes into, hey, we have those contracts and documents that we need reviewed, but attorneys usually charge around $100 a page. So what do we normally do? Cross our fingers, sign the contracts, but it's so incredible that right now, right through the mobile app, we can upload those contracts or documents, describe what's going on, schedule an appointment with our law firm, and before we even talk to them, they've reviewed everything and ready to give us next steps, ready to give us our advice. And that could be, those are for a house, right? So mortgage contracts, those could be for buying a house, those could be sending the kids to private school. I mean, anything we're going to sign, now we know we can just, put the person on notice. Hey, this looks great. I'm going to have my attorney review it. Because let's just think about that logically, right? Everything that we sign was created by an attorney. It just wasn't ours, right? And so we should have the same ability to have an attorney protect us, just like that company is protected. And then one of my favorite parts too is we actually, again, part of what the attorneys are going to do on our behalf is write those letters, make phone calls on our behalf if needed. And this could be from a $50 dispute with a dry cleaner to a $50,000 dispute with a roofing contractor and anything in between. I mean, I literally just used it a couple months ago for a $147 dispute. But I mean, think about $147, the fact that I got that back, that almost pays for your plan for a year, right? So just using the plan once for something relatively small, right? I would have never called an attorney for a $147 dispute because it would have probably cost me 10 times that. But that letter was included. It was a dispute because many of you, maybe I used Orbitz to book a hotel. I was traveling for another enrollment with another school and I needed to stay overnight. And it was incredible that I showed up and the property was deserted. Like it should have never been on their website. So I thought for sure there is not going to be a dispute here. I mean, I'm going to call them, tell them, hey, I need reimbursed. This property is deserted. But guess what? They all say they have their policy, right? And same day cancellation. And anyway, so it was the principal, right? We just, we hate to be treated unfairly like that. And so it was so great that I actually had, the attorneys write a letter for me. So I just wanted to give that example so we can understand that it doesn't have to be anything big or small, but it could be anything big or small. Let me say it that way, right? And then one of the most important and most valuable parts of our plan is, again, I've been mentioning it, the wills, living wills, right? So think about the living will is unfortunately kind of that plug or unplug, right? Where we're making the decision. And I can tell you that it doesn't feel great, to think about, being in those circumstances, but think about how devastating it is for our family members to have to make that decision if we don't have our living wills in place. Then let's think about our healthcare and financial power of attorney. I alluded to it when I was talking about my son, but the healthcare power of attorney is designed not that it's plug or unplug, but maybe we're unconscious and medical decisions have to be made for us. And a lot of times, of course, that's probably just our spouse, but maybe we have a medical professional in our family. Maybe we know it would be a tough decision for our spouse, or, if we're not married, that significant other. And so we just want to be the ones to decide. And then the financial power of attorney, this is really important too, because think about, so we're unconscious, right? Maybe we're going through a serious health issue, and now we need our bills paid. We need somebody to be able to access our accounts. They can't just do that. It's very difficult after the fact to show up in a courtroom and tell the judge, hey, I need access, right, to Latrice's information and all her finances. So again, having this all done ahead of time is just, really gives us peace of mind, but really helps our family members. And then trusts are done, included in your plan. And not, a lot of us think we absolutely need a trust, but this is where the conversations with the law firm happens. We can talk to an estate attorney, we can disclose, all the pieces of our life, and they will guide us on what's best. And then, if we have to deal with probate, probate is there too, included in your plan. I mentioned the traffic. Listen, the biggest thing is we know that our car insurance is high enough, and any little, a couple points, and our car insurance is doubling or tripling, right, for years. And so the idea is, we just want to help with any moving violations, any accidents, our license is suspended, there's any issues going on, we can talk to an expert. And remember, this is nationwide coverage. I was in Ohio a handful of years ago for a conference, and my rental car got illegally towed from in front of the hotel. I literally asked four people at the hotel, the front desk, the valet guys, they all said I was okay to park there. And when I woke up the next morning, my car was gone. And so that was in Ohio. And so when I got back to Florida, I sent the ticket, through the mobile app, and they contacted the Ohio law firm and they represented me, no points, no traffic school. I even got my the $100 that I had spent on an Uber to get to the tow yard, which I was shocked about, and the attorney said there's a slim chance that we'd be able to get that back. But I was in that case, we were in the right, so we were able to do that. But how difficult would it have been to come back to Florida and find an attorney in Ohio, and especially one that very simply and easily I was able to get that ticket done. So, but not just for traffic tickets nationwide. I was at an open enrollment meeting recently. An employee asked me, they just still have property in North Carolina and wanted to know if the attorneys could help with that property. So not just anything traffic related when we're traveling, but absolutely all parts of the plan are nationwide. Think about this trial defense is in case we're ever named in a lawsuit for any reason as a result of an accident, maybe the dog bites the neighbor. I mean, just right, all these crazy things that can happen in life. Just know that this is like a Sue savings account. There's hundreds of hours sitting there just in case. And then we even have some other areas, again, mostly once in a lifetime things, but if we're ever audited, if we need to file bankruptcy, if we have collection issues, separation, divorce, name change, adoption, prenups, elder care issues. I mean, the list is endless. Just parts of the plan that, if we did not have a service like this, could cost us thousands and thousands of dollars included in the plan. But we even have a catch-all. There is a 25% discount. Let's say it is something that's excluded. The only things that are really excluded could be criminal related, maybe a DUI or something else criminal. Know that there's nothing that the plan won't cover. This 25% discount is there as the catch-all. And then I absolutely love the 24/7. My sister actually used this. She got rear-ended on a Saturday night, hurt her shoulder, but wanted to call in and find out what her rights were. As soon as I picked her up, she has the plan as well, and so she called, and it was just great to see getting that legal advice from a qualified attorney. At 9 p.m. on a Saturday night, right? So this is just great protection. And again, as a parent, I'm just glad to know that if, my son was ever in any, strange situations, right? We can be at the wrong place at the wrong time. I know that he's got the app on his phone as well. So this is covering all our children up to the age of 26. And just a special note, the plans that you have are very unique that parents, step parents of you as the employee and your spouse or significant other are also eligible. This is very unique, but your plans have this that they can get advice, consultation, document review, and they can get their wills prepared and their physician's directives and medical directives. So even an extension to your parents and step parents for you and your spouse or significant other is amazing coverage. So I just want to briefly jump into identity theft a little bit. I saw, these recent articles and I just wanted to bring it top of mind. I know that many of us might have a plan through our banks, through our credit cards. There's a lot of companies out there. I just want to stress that LegalShield has been offering an identity theft plan for almost 25 years, long before identity theft was a household name, unfortunately, right? Many companies have jumped into the identity theft protection world just for revenue because they know that, it's something that we all just can't live without anymore. We need to protect ourselves. But look at how many records have been compromised between just last year and the first half of this year, right? 23 million records. A significant breach happened last year, attacking 2.9 billion records. So, as diligent as we can be, it's just totally out of our control when these breaches happen. And so, what are some of the issues? A lot of times we think of identity theft, but what that really is credit card fraud or bank fraud. I had to replace my business debit card 2 times last year, right? So because something was happening. Well, that's really bank fraud, credit card fraud. True identity theft is when they can open credit cards, new accounts, loans in our name because they have our socials. And so we need somebody monitoring new accounts. Existing accounts are pretty covered. I mean, my bank caught it very quickly, shut off things, sent me a text. I had to call in. I think we've all been experiencing that. So our existing lines of credit are pretty covered. But we're all at work today, right? What would we do? Or how would we ever know if somebody was sitting at a car dealership or trying to open a, have a cell phone in our name somewhere? So just know that there's a lot of pieces to the puzzle. Medical identity theft, they can commit crimes in our name. It absolutely affects our credit score. So that's a big fight and a battle to get our credit score to recover from that. A lot of employees that I talk to have had tax fraud. So they have to use PIN numbers now when they're filing their taxes. There's just so many pieces, and it is very emotionally distressful. I mean, there's nothing more important than our identity. And when that's compromised, and when we see our information on the dark web and we get these alerts, it's just really disturbing. And so, we need the best of the best, right? Criminals are becoming so sophisticated that we absolutely need an amazing plan with experts like what we have with our licensed private investigators to help us and to fix it. And we do need to monitor more, right? And so that's where the plan starts. Monitoring, we hear about that with other plans. Just know that that equates to early detection. So that just means that, don't you agree? We want to be the first ones to know when there's a new account open up in our name or there's an address change. I even have my passport monitored, right? I traveled internationally last summer. I'm traveling this summer again. I mean, we want to make sure that we're not detained at the airport or, these breaches happen and we just don't know. It just has such a ripple effect on all the different parts of our life. We have won awards for our privacy and reputation management specifically because we're monitoring our social media, the privacy monitoring. That's a new feature. So if you're already a member or when you become a member, make sure you set that up. A couple weeks ago, I got my monthly alert that they had removed me from 16 sites. I was shocked to see that. But those different sites that we visit, I mean, I don't know how my name and information got there, but I just love knowing and seeing it that they're protecting us every day right now. We're being protected and we're the first to know. That's where they're going to send us those text alerts, email alerts. And hey, sometimes it's us, right? If we open up a new account, if we move and it's a new address in our name, hey, it's us. So we're also going to get that alert. But now we know, hey, we don't have to take that next step and contact our investigators because it was us. But if it's activity that we do not recognize, absolutely the next step is to contact our licensed private investigators. We also partnered with Trend Micro a handful of years ago, and if you want to look up Trend Micro, they are like a Norton, like a McAfee, and included at no additional cost is that malware protection. Many of us are paying for malware protection. Well, it's included here. The individual plan, 3 devices are covered. The family plan, 15 devices are covered. That's the same with the VPN proxy. We know many of us use public Wi-Fi, so it's absolutely important to have a VPN proxy in place to put that extra level of protection between what we're accessing and that public Wi-Fi. Password manager, I mean, just so much protection. And then again, what sets us apart is that these licensed private investigators are in-house. I found out recently on a training, our CEO can't even go into that department. We have these investigators that are working on cases that are so sensitive and it's very protected and they're constantly getting trained on any new new ways that our identity is being breached. And so just incredible. So we sign a limited power of attorney. They will do whatever it takes for as long as it takes, taking all that stress of getting our identity back, dealing with all these companies, because it has to be done during normal business hours, right? So we're trying to work, we're trying to do, life, and all of a sudden this becomes like another part-time job. But with our plans, we're the only ones that have the licensed investigators that are so trained. And we did include a $3 million fraud policy in there as well. So all that means is, hey, if we're ever out any financial finances at all, maybe a bank doesn't reimburse or a retirement plan doesn't reimburse or we have to spend money at all, during this process, we have that $3 million there. And so, just as I'm wrapping it up and going to open it up for questions, just want to stress the pricing because, guys, I paid double this. So, just know that you are locked in to one of the best coverages that we offer. And that $17, this is monthly. So, just know that it is taken out per paycheck. This is the monthly rates. Look at that identity theft protection. For an individual is only $7.45 for all that coverage. And for an entire family is only $14.05. That's as a standalone. But what I love is when you bundle, there is a bundle discount. And that's why you see for both plans, it's only $23.45 for an individual or $29.05 for a family. Just unheard of. Like most identity theft plans for a family are double that. And here you're getting a whole legal plan and identity theft protection. So, as a licensed agent, I never want to say, cancel whatever identity theft plans you have, but I can tell you that we are the most robust out there. And I don't want you paying for two plans, but I would highly recommend really, really looking at how much coverage is here. So again, know that these are discounted rates because of ICUBA. Again, I mentioned it's nationwide coverage, so please keep that in mind. Plans are absolutely portable at the same rate. So if you ever retire or leave your school for whatever reason, these plans are completely portable. So I want you to stay. And our most, what I love too, I know that ICUBA has some amazing partnerships, but I just wanted you to know that our member perks is one of the most robust discount programs in the country. There are over 500 retailers, and these are everyday expenses that we spend money on from maybe we work at our church or our, PTA and we have to go to Office Depot and make copies. The copies drop down hundreds of dollars, right? It's so amazing just with Office Depot. There's cell phone companies and every day, maybe our phone deliveries. The holidays are coming up. I can tell you that shopping on member perks, we can save so much and definitely you see all the travel on there. So many travel discounts. So please check this out. Once you open up the mobile app, you'll be able to access member perks. Each company kind of has its own way of doing it. I was getting a security system for my home a couple years ago through Simply Safe, and it was amazing that when I was on Simply Safe's website, I thought, well, before I hit submit, let me just take a chance and see if it's on member perks. And it was. And doing it through member perks, I was able to get an additional camera, a $99 value. So instead of just three cameras, I got four. And then the whole amount was 30% off through member perks. So I saved almost over $200, a little over $200, again, paying for my plan for a whole year just using member perks, right? Or for you guys it'd be a year. For me it'd be about half a year, right? Because of your discounts. But just know that our goal is to help us, save more than what our premiums actually cost. And so as we're wrapping up, just know that your enrollments, you log into your Akupa site. That's where, when open enrollment happens, that's where you'll find us, except if there's any qualifying events. And just know that we have created a website, shieldbenefits.com/ICUBA. And you can, I know I went into a lot of detail, but there is more materials, more, really contractually, all the details of the plan. There's videos there you could watch. But one thing I really wanted to point out, so important, those of you that are already a member, please go to that website and open up the tab resources. In that resources tab, it talks about ways to use the plan. There's videos and step-by-step instructions on how to set up the mobile app, how to use the plan through the app, how to make sure that your additional family members, right? Like I went in on the mobile app and sent the invitation to my son so that he could, because we're all the same membership number, right? So that he could accept it and have the app on his phone as well. You can do that for all the covered family members. So Absolutely go to, www.shieldbenefits.com/Ikuba. Go there, look around, and then once you're a member, or if you're already a member, please go to that resource tab because our goal is for you to take full advantage. These are everyday life situations, signing contracts, having legal questions. And once you get familiar with it and start using it, I promise you, you'll be using the plan and, on a monthly basis, I bet there's going to be questions that we could reach out to our law firm for. Yes, thank you again for attending. I'm so happy to be here again. And Latrice, yeah, let's definitely turn it over to questions.
Okay, I just have a couple right now. The
Okay.
first one was if I used Ticket Clinic for my traffic ticket, can I still use Legal Shield benefit?
So we do what they do, right? So that ticket clinic is, the fee that you paid is the attorney fee that's included at no cost. Now they can't pay the fines for us. Like the tickets I've had, they have gotten the fine taken away. I know with like Ticket Busters and Ticket Clinic, they make a lot of claims, but they could reduce our fees. But it would really be either or. So just know that if you've used them in the past, definitely you don't have to call them again. You don't have to pay that 75 or $100 or more that they charged you. That attorney fee is what's included in your plan. So all you do is through the mobile app, we take a picture of the ticket, we hit submit, and it goes right to the law firm.
Okay. This one says, a complete full family legal shield plan. I would like to find out how we tap into the living will benefit. How do we set up each service you offer?
Perfect. And I did mention, right, that resource tab, but what you're going to do is when you open that oh, and I'm glad that you mentioned that because if you don't like using mobile apps, the member portal is exactly the same as the mobile app. So the member portal you can bring up on a desktop, an iPad, a laptop. And when you set that up initially, right from the home screen, it says start my will. And what it is doing is it's prompting us and walking us through the questions that they need, just like if we were sitting across from the law firm. So just know that that's the simplest way. When you go into the mobile app, you'll see it says request a consult, and one of the main tabs is estate planning. So if you want to talk to your attorney first and find out what pieces of the puzzle do I need, should I do just a will, should I do a trust, you can absolutely set up and schedule a consultation with the estate attorney and even an appointment face to face. But we want to save you time and not driving around like crazy. So you can definitely do that over the phone. But again, once you create and set up your account, that's one of the first things that pops up is getting our wills done, which includes the living will, healthcare power of attorney, financial power of attorney.
And they were saying that they were having a little trouble with the traffic ticket and getting an update. So is there, how do they go about calling or making a call if they, or can they only receive services online?
No, no, no. So absolutely, the law firms are real, right? Each of our, we have a North and a South Florida law firm. They all have different satellite offices. So depending on where you live, so you can absolutely, if you want to send me an email or send me a text, I can make sure, but one, that which law firm and you can have their direct line. But what I love about the mobile app is that we can already describe everything. We can upload documents, pictures pertaining. Like when I did that situation with that hotel that was abandoned, when I set up the appointment, the consultation, I had already taken pictures of the property. I had my receipt, and I uploaded all that. So by the time the attorney called me back, they had all that information. So it's not that we're receiving services online, it's that we're setting up the consultation with our attorney through these online portals just because it just expedites everything. But once we're talking to the attorney, it's just like any other attorney client situation. If they, like when my attorney called me back on the scheduled time, she needed pictures. She asked me if I could also send the good pictures that were on Orbit's website so they could compare. And even though I sent her a screenshot of the receipt, she asked me to open it up and send the full receipt. So those were what she needed, and then the letter was written. So it is like any other relationship with a real person with a real law firm. It's just that we can expedite and speed up the process when we, request the consultation. But their phone lines are open 8:30 to 5. We can just call in. The customer service at the law firm that's answering will say, "Hey, tell me a little bit about what area of law you need." Because out of the 50, 60 attorneys, they want to make sure that we talk to the real estate attorney, we talk to the family law attorney, we talk to the traffic attorney. So that's just where that little bit of a setup happens, even if we call in. And then if we tell them, "Hey, we want you to call us back, immediately," they are contractually required to call us back within 8 business hours. Last time I did that last week for a question, I got a phone call within 4 hours. But we know that many of you could be in classes, you could be in the middle of things, and we don't want you playing phone tag. And so that's why I love the feature where you can just schedule a call. Let's say you know that Friday mornings you're free or Friday afternoons, you can schedule the call then. You're set, you've got your notepad ready, and you're in front of your desk ready to take that call. So those are the two options: call immediately or schedule a call with them.
Okay. This one says, can you receive advice on your rights to work and workers' comp to see if you're being treated fairly and in the right way?
It was a little garbled, Latrice, at the beginning. Can you get advance copy of?
I'm sorry.
There you go.
This says, can you receive advice on your rights with work and workers' comp to see if you're being treated fairly and in the right way?
Okay, so I'm glad you asked that. So obviously, this is a benefit being offered at work. So the only thing excluded is anything work related. There would be no way that we could bring in these incredible rates. And because of the umbrella with ICUBA, you just can't call for anything work related. And that carries with you even when you take the plan with you. If you ever leave, ICUBA and your school is protected. But just know, I'm sure, right, Latrice, I don't want to speak for you, but I'm sure you'd love to talk to any employees that are having issues like that so that you can, make sure that they feel comfortable with how they're being treated. But yeah, so that's the only thing that's included from the plan. I forgot to mention that. It's just anything work related.
And this one, where is the North Office located?
So the North Florida law firm is Orlando. They have a satellite office in Melbourne, Tampa, Tallahassee. And then our South Florida firm is in Plantation. And guys, it's kind of funny. I know Nova's down there. They do have satellite offices on the west coast of Florida as well. They are actually alumni of Nova. The senior partners went to Nova Law School, sat on the board of Nova. Their daughter, Lindsay, who's also a partner now, she went to Nova Law School. So there's great connections with NSU specifically. But this is why we always like to say, right? You can absolutely set up an appointment with them, but so much can save us time and stress. And by just, talking to the attorney, hey, it doesn't, if all they're doing is reviewing a contract for us and we're gonna talk to them, they're gonna give us advice. Hey, we don't care where that document is, right? Where that attorney is actually sitting. And so that's why the plans start that way. But then if they need to be, face to face for us in a courtroom, then, they will absolutely be there for us.
All right. I do not see any more questions in the chat.
Okay.
So this is your
Anybody
last
live want to come off?
opportunity.
Anybody live want to come off mute
Last
and say hi?
opportunity. You see, Kelly's very personable. Like she's definitely open to answering your questions. But I
Yes.
I don't see anything
Okay.
additional, and we actually are at time. We're a little over.
Perfect.
So, I just wanted to say thank you, Kelly, for joining us. We so appreciate your
Thank
help. You're
you.
amazing. And thank you, everybody, for joining us, and just taking some time out of your day to get some more information on one of your benefits offerings. So, if you have any
Thank
additional
you.
questions, feel free to reach out to Kelly directly regarding Legal Shield and
Absolutely.
ID Shield. And thanks again for joining
Bye,
us.
Liz.
We hope you all are be well and stay well.
That's right. And happy as we're getting into the holiday season. Can't even believe it. Bye, everybody. Thank you
Thanks,
again, Latrice.
everybody.
Thank you.